Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q3FY22 Earnings Conference Call of Finolex Industries Limited, hosted by Investec Capital Services. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Ritesh Shah, Head Mid-Market Coverage and ESG. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rituja. Welcome all for Finolex Q3 conference call. Trust you and your families are fine and safe. We have with us from the management, Mr. Sanjay Math, Managing Director, Mr. Anil Wadi, Chief Financial Officer, and Mr. Neeraj Kedia, Deputy CFO. I'll request the management to start with initial commentary, post which we'll move to a Q&A session. Over to you, Math sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritesh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and hello, everyone. We welcome to the investor conference call to discuss Q3 FY22 earning release. Thank you for your continued interest in Finolex Industries Limited. Now, before we start, let me wish you all a very happy New Year 2022, and hope every one of you and your families are keeping safe. PVC prices reached historic high over last year. However, there has been substantial volatility in PVC prices in last few months. After a short period of correction mid last year, the prices again went up sharply. But in the last couple of months, the PVC prices have come down by roughly 20%. In dollar terms, PVC prices currently around $1,500 levels, down from the high of $1,900 levels 3 months ago. The PVC to EDC delta has also reduced from $980 levels a quarter ago to roughly $580 levels currently. Falling PVC prices had an adverse effect on PVC demand sentiment in general. In addition to the falling PVC prices, various parts of the country witnessed torrential rain during the third quarter. These factors together resulted in a lower than expected demand, especially on the agri side. On the real estate and construction segment, the demand was good, but there is a supply constraint of additives and raw materials, mainly due to logistical constraints on container shortages and some port closures. The demand is expected to improve with the season opening up on agri segment and easing of supply chain bottlenecks on the real estate segment. Let me give you some performance indicators for the third quarter of financial year 2022. The highlights. Total income from operations was rupees 1,005 crores for the quarter FY22, down by 5.7% against the same quarter last year, rupees 1,066 last year. The volume in pipes and fittings segment reduced 15% to 46,994 metric tons against 55,299 metric tons last year's third quarter. EBITDA stood at rupees 242 crores for this quarter, down 30% against rupees 346 crores same quarter last year. Profit after tax was at rupees 178 crores for this quarter, down 30% against rupees 256 crores the same quarter last year. Now getting into segmental performance, EBIT in resin segment was 177 crores, down 28% versus last year. And EBIT in pipes and fittings segment was 55 crores, down 40% versus last year. We continue to move in the direction of increasing non-agri in overall product mix. During this quarter, the agri to non-agri ratio was almost 60 to 40% by value and 65 to 35 in volume terms. This is in line with our target to have 60 to 40 agri to non-agri mix in the midterm. I think let me open the floor for questions now. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
The first question is from the line of Rahul Agarwal from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good morning, and wish everybody at Finolex a happy 2022 as well. Sir, three quick questions. First, how is the situation in January? What is your reading in terms of January inventory? How does 4Q look like? Will it recover the entire lost volumes of 3Q? And 4Q anyway is a strong quarter for you because of agri pipe season, picking up in terms of channel inventory. Any thoughts, sir? How does it look like?
I think the outlook in January is also not very bright. The agri sector has still not opened, and the demand is subdued. So the pipe demand has not yet picked up. So we are waiting. I think hopefully it will open up by February after the budget. This is what we feel. It's only about a week's time now. So from then on, I think we should have some impetus to the pipe demand.
What could be the reason, Sanjay ji? As in COVID wave 3, is that the reason, or generally because PVC is still volatile, is that the reason? In your sense, what is the reason for pipe not picking up on the agri side?
I think there are two reasons yet we can just predict upon. One reason is that people still feel that there is a price correction going to happen. One aspect that is there, that the anti-dumping duty for US as well as China will be removed in February. So whether there will be some correction coming on PVC prices. This is one reason that people may be waiting on that any price correction is possible. That is one. And secondly, still the agri sector has still not opened. I think there is rain still going on in some parts of the country, and that has also subdued the demand for agri sector. Whereas we see that the non-agri sector is definitely doing better over the period in this year, quarter on quarter as well as on the year on year. I think the non-agri sector has done better for us. But the volume compared to agri is lower. That is why it doesn't reflect into a total volume. I think going forward, we see that by mid-February at least, the agri sector has to definitely open. So in this quarter, I think we will get somewhere around 1.5 months to show as a good demand coming for the next quarter.
Got it, sir. Sir, secondly, any progress on the land sale and decisions on utilizing this cash for buyback or dividends? What is happening there?
So land is status quo. Hi, Rahul, Neeraj here. So land is status quo. We are it's in process. So it's not a very quick thing, or it doesn't happen very quickly because there are modalities involved. So we are in the process of completing the transactions. It's not one transaction, but a few of them. So that will take its due course, but we hope to close at least some bit of it before March of this year.
So on a full basis, September is a good time to look forward for that 750 crores to come in?
Let's see how it pans out. I cannot comment or commit for September as of now, but some part we'll definitely see before March. That's the take as of now.
And thoughts on dividends or buyback to utilize this cash? Anyway, we are surplus today also.
Yes. So that will be evaluated, and we'll take a call soon on that as well.
Okay. And lastly, sir, if you could help us with CPVC volumes and revenue for third quarter and 9 months, that will be helpful. Thank you so much.
So CPVC volumes were for 3 quarters, for Q3, right?
Yeah, 3Q and 9 months, please.
Yeah, so roughly 3,300 tons was for Q3 and roughly 9,400 tons for the 9 months.
And the top line, please?
Top line is 125 crores for 3 months and 340 crores for the 9 months.
Thank you so much, Neeraj, and thank you, team. All the best. I'll come back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag from HDFC Asset Management. Please go ahead.
So a few bookkeeping questions from my side. If you could help with what PVC, EDC, ethylene and VCM prices were in the third quarter versus the third quarter of the previous year, and what are they at the moment?
I think third quarter this year, PVC $1,753. Last year was $1,235. PVC. EDC this quarter $959, and last quarter was $470. Last year
Sorry,
third quarter.
was 400 and?
$470 last year third quarter.
470, yes.
Okay, now PVC to EDC delta this year third quarter is 795. Last year was 765.
Sure.
And PVC to VCM delta.
So what would be the ethylene and VCM prices this quarter and previous quarter?
Okay, VCM price is 1403 this quarter. And last year was 960.
And ethylene, sir?
And
Ethylene.
ethylene 1068 this quarter and 843 last year.
And so what are the current prices for all of these at the moment?
Current prices, PVC is 1500, EDC is 920, ethylene 965, and VCM 1210.
So what were fitting volumes and value this quarter?
Fittings volume this quarter is 6,121.
And value?
I think, Neeraj, you have value?
Yeah. So fitting is roughly 200 crores.
Right. So the last question from my side, sir, there's obviously been a lot of volatility in PVC prices and spreads. So two questions. So one is that, considering that prices have fallen quite recently, is there a possibility of an inventory loss in the fourth quarter? And where do you see margins settling in at for an average for, let's say, going forward next year, the following year? What is a reasonable number to work with?
So,
Yes, Neeraj.
yeah. So in terms of inventory loss, we don't see so much of it. We don't have so much of inventory loss actually, because we make our own PVC. But we'll see how, as Mr. Mutt was alluding to earlier also. So it all depends how these PVC prices move. Obviously, if there is a sharp reduction in PVC prices, the margins will be adversely impacted. But that remains to be seen. On a going forward or regular basis, there is always a time lag. What we saw last year was that PVC prices went up sharply, whereas the raw material prices, it took them some time to inch up. Now, when the reverse happens, the same thing is likely to happen as it happens anywhere else. So it will depend on how big the lag is. Generally, it is not very long, but on a maintainable basis, as we are saying, 10, 12 rupees per kilo, that is the maintainable margin in the long term.
10, 12 rupees a kilo in resins?
No, in pipe set fitting.
No, sir. What I meant in resin, so where do you see this margin over a period of time, which is roughly 40,000 per ton this quarter? Where do you think that can eventually settle in at?
Chirag, for PVC resin, you are aware that it's difficult to say where will it end up. It all depends, as Neeraj said, on these price dynamics.
Fair point, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Praveen Sahai from Edelweiss Financial. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. Just, on the fitting revenue, how much you said, just to clarify?
200 crores.
Okay. So, my question pertaining to the demand side, as in the last call also, you had highlighted that the last two seasons for the agri were a very subdued demand. And now we are in the third season, and it's still like the third quarter we had not seen on some or other reason, rain or destocking. So what's your commentary now, like whether the farmer will further, even the prices were on the fluctuating on the higher side, do you believe this deferment will continue, or really this demand to pick up in the coming season?
I think last 2 years we had a torrential rain and extended monsoon also, and that has definitely affected the demand on the pipes. Last year also it was very late opening up of the agri sector. I think almost it was not as good as the earlier ones. Even though the economy has picked up in the third and fourth quarter of last year, still the demand for agri never opened up to the extent it was there pre-pandemic. I do not see that it is because of the pandemic that has happened, but it is basically because of the rain, untimely rains that have happened. That is one reason. There is a reason to believe that the high prices also might have affected some demand. Although we can't really quantify that, but there is a possibility that high prices also could be affecting the demand. So that is where they are waiting on prices to maybe soften out. So the demand for this year may be picking up only by the second harvest, maybe by mid of next month. We should be seeing some demand growth.
So on this, some consumer companies are highlighting the rural slowdown is a continue. So what's your view on that? This rural slowdown is continuing, and that's not going to get some pickup in the agri pipe or so?
I think we don't talk about economic slowdown. Although the numbers show that the GDP is going to grow by 9%, agri also will be growing by 4% or so. So that doesn't speak, and does not get reflected into the demand on pipes. So these two are still not related so much. Whether there is a economic slowdown or it is not, the sector itself is not showing some demand pickup.
And also you had highlighted related to the plumbing segment has done good for you for this quarter. How much is the contribution for this quarter, plumbing?
Non-agri we have 60 to 14 by value and 65 to 35 by volume. So that's picked up to that extent.
It's just to correct. It's to clarify. It is the other way around. Agri is more than non-agri.
Yeah. So in the non-agri, the CPVC volume has not done anywhere. If I look at a sequential, so like PVC side, it's done very well. Non-agri.
I think CPVC has done very well. Over the last year, it has grown by 57% for the 9 months period. And over the pre-pandemic year, I think it has grown by 32%. So this 9 months, CPVC has grown better. So this is one in the non-agri sector which has done better.
Okay. Just to clarify, sir, how much was the volume the third quarter last year? CPVC?
So 3,400 tons this quarter.
3,000.
400 tons this quarter. And
3,300 is this quarter, but last year was, I think, 3,600.
No, last year was 3,000 tons.
3,000 tons, yeah, 3,000 tons.
So if you see Q on Q, it is 3,000 and 3,300, 400. But on a 9-month basis, last year was roughly 6,000 and now is roughly 9,400.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking my question. All the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sonali from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
So thank you for the opportunity. So my first question is the split between agri and non-agri in terms of the pipes volume. So when we talk about 15% year-on-year dip in Q3, how much would be the dip in agri versus non-agri?
You want only pipes or fittings separate?
Right. No. Both pipes and fittings.
So agri, in terms of volumes, Q on Q, they are down by 24%. And non-agri is in fact slightly higher actually, by 4%.
Sorry, sir. Could you repeat that?
Non-agri is higher by 4%.
Okay. Got it. So, and similar figures for year-on-year, please?
Agri is down 5% and non-agri is up 30%.
Understand. So within non-agri, that's mainly plumbing, are we seeing traction from both rural and urban, or is it more of a urban-centric phenomenon?
Typically, plumbing sanitation is more urban, right?
Right. So urban is the key driver for our non-agri volume.
Urban and semi-urban, yes.
Right. So, and also you mentioned in your opening remarks that in the long term you would like to increase your non-agri to about 40% of your overall mix. So what are the key steps that we are taking in this direction in terms of either increasing the distribution or the SKUs? And also related question, what are our SKUs right now?
So you're right. One of the steps in that direction is to have a broader SKU range. Now we are almost there actually. In terms of SKUs when it comes to non-agri. So in total today we have roughly 2,200 SKUs, of which I would say non-agri are roughly 1,250. So 1,200, 1,300 SKUs in non-agri. So that is one step. And also on the distribution chain, as you rightly said, there is focus. So see, last 1.5 years because of this pandemic, obviously there was some slowdown in appointing new dealers and reaching out to new markets because of all the constraints. But the idea is to have a wider distribution network in the urban and semi-urban areas and market and reach the market in such a way, there's more penetration in these areas.
So which are the key markets that we are targeting?
There is no specific market as such. So there are markets where we are strong, so that impetus is there to maintain that leadership in those markets. They would be mostly your south markets and western markets, and obviously there is wherever we are not at the number 1 or number 2 position, like so that is where we would like to increase it. These would include some of the northern markets, some of the eastern markets.
Understand. So, and last question from my side, any guidance on CAPEX? Because we were in a wait and watch mode for increasing our capacities, especially in pipes. And secondly, any color on the current channel inventory that we are witnessing in January? That's it from my side.
So when it comes to CAPEX on capacity front, in pipes, we don't think as of now there is any major requirement because we are yet to reach the pre-pandemic levels. So there is headroom available there. There is an incremental CAPEX continuous CAPEX which is happening on the fitting side of it. So that is continuing to happen. And when it comes to channel inventory, as Mr. Mutt said, there's an anticipation that the prices would go down. So people are destocking and people are carrying very minimal inventory levels.
Right. So any quantum of CAPEX that you want to guide?
So 100 crores is something that we have told earlier also. So
Got it, sir.
That is the number right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Udit from Yes Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you for taking up my question. Just a follow-up, sir, from the previous question. Can you give the geographical split for a non-agri business?
Geographical split is not readily available.
Okay. And sir, just to clarify, the non-agri is 40% in volume terms. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 35% actually.
Okay.
Our target is to reach 40% on a consistent level. See what happens, there are quarters where agri, because of the season, agri is lesser. So in those quarters, you would see a higher non-agri contribution. But when you have to look at it from an annual perspective, there the target is to reach 40% non-agri at least.
Got it. So rest of the questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Utkarsh Nopani from Haitong Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, sir. Sir, I just need few data points if you can help me out. First is, what is the fittings revenue in Q3 FY21?
FY21?
Yes, sir.
150 crores.
Okay. And how much capex we have incurred in 9 months of FY22?
FY22 we would have incurred roughly 50 to 60 crores.
Okay. And we are planning to spend another 40 odd crore in this March quarter. Is it correct?
Hopefully, yes.
And what would be the capex guidance for FY23?
Similar levels.
Okay. So we are not planning to increase the capacity in FY23. Am I correct?
So as I said, when it comes to pipes, there is already enough headroom available. We had done roughly 250,000 tons before pandemic hit us.
Mm-hmm.
We are yet to reach that level. So to that extent, in pipes, there is already capacity available. Once we reach near those levels, then we will be adding capacities. But no, adding capacity is not very difficult or not very costly in our business. You can always add capacities in modular level.
Okay. Fine, sir. And how many new SKUs we are planning to add, say, over the next 15-month period, say by March 23?
Sorry?
How many new SKUs we are planning to add, say, by March 23?
March 23. See, I can't answer or put a number to that right now, because this is a continuous process. There are a lot of SKUs in various stages. Once an SKU is introduced, there are many things which happen before that, some market study, designing and all of that. So there are SKUs in lineup. I can't give you a number. How much would that be?
Sure, sir. And sir, lastly, if we see over the last 8 quarters, your average EBITDA per kg run rate for the pipe division is close to around 12.5 rupee per kg, where we have not seen much of volume growth. We have seen a negative operating leverage. So if we are anticipating good volume growth, then why we are being conservative on our guidance that we are still maintaining the same outlook of 10 to 12 rupee EBITDA per unit?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Sir, if we see over the last 8 quarter period, our EBITDA per unit for pipe division is around 12.5 rupee per kg, where we have not seen the benefit of operating leverage as our volume is in a negative territory. So going forward on the guidance, earlier you have just made the comment that we are still looking for 10 to 12 rupee EBITDA per kg kind of a guidance for the pipe division. So just wanted to know why we are so conservative in our guidance. Is it because that we are anticipating the agri pipe contribution to start moving up? So our EBITDA per unit run rate is likely to go down.
See, when this mix also changes, and you may say that we are slightly conservative, but see, that is the maintainable margin going forward also.
Sir, I am still not getting the point, because at one side we are saying that we are planning to increase our non-agri sales volume mix to 40%. That is our medium-term goal. And on the other side, we are saying that the current run rate of 12.5 rupee per kg looks to be a bit not sustainable. It is likely to go down. So, sir,
what we are saying is 10 to 12 is maintainable. That's all we are saying.
Okay, thanks a lot, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhargav Buddhadev from Kotak. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, team, and thanks for the opportunity. I just wanted to know what has been the increase in the advertising and marketing spends, because ATL spends for Finolex have been rising, and also wanted to know whether these spends are going to increase or sustainable in nature.
See, our advertising spends are roughly between 1.5% of the top line, and that will be something which will be maintained.
And what was this earlier?
It has been in the same range. Obviously, there was in the pandemic year, the activities were lower, but otherwise, 1.25% is the number that we seek for.
And secondly, in terms of CPVC, have we taken price hikes in the last 3 to 4 months?
There was one small correction that happened, but nothing major.
And from here on, do we expect price hikes, or you think prices will be more or less in this range?
No, the costs also have been going up for CPVC inputs. So obviously with that, the prices will change.
Okay, and I heard right, that there was a price cut in CPVC in the third quarter.
No. There has been price rise in CPVC. There has been shortage of material and there have been price hikes.
Is it possible to quantify?
No, it depends from supplier to supplier. Each supplier has quoted their prices, but generally the prices have moved up in the third quarter.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for the clarification.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Lodaya from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. A couple of questions from my side. So, sir, first on this PVC volatility, as you mentioned, there have been substantial volatility in last few months. If you can help us understand what is leading to this volatility, is it increased import from China, or it is something else which is leading to this kind of volatility?
In this volatility in general is overall international market prices are changing. It is not only the Indian market prices are there. I think there has been correction in China also. I think China presently is about $1,300. South Asia is the highest level of PVC prices. Between India, Pakistan and the nearby areas, it is about 1,500 to 50. Now, China at present has got anti-dumping duty for India. So that may be going in month of February. So that is where the volatility is still expected, that maybe there is a softening of PVC prices, which we will come to know in next 2-3 weeks.
Right. No, but this volatility is to do with increased production, lower demand. Is there any global phenomena which is, causing this volatility?
I think there is a trade only within the region. There is a problem coming up for the rate as well as containers not availability, and that has restricted even the supply chain on raw materials. The imports coming to India are still not to the tune of the earlier ones, and they are running somewhere around 1 lakh tons to 1,20,000 tons, which is normally about more than 1,50,000, 1,60,000 tons. So there is some shortage on the supply side from imports. Domestic suppliers are anyway running the plants to their capacity. So the demand as such is running somewhere matching the production only. This is This is a phenomena which is still people have not seen that there is a pickup in total PVC demand all across.
Right. And then what is the quantum of ADD today? Is it 10%?
For US and China, they are different rates. They are, in terms of dollars, they have given.
And what would be that roughly in percentage terms range?
Yeah, about 8%, 10%.
Got it. Sir, my second question was on volumes for agri as well as non-agri. So if you can just split agri versus non-agri volumes for first 9 months, that would be helpful.
Just hold on. I don't have those numbers like separate agri and non-agri.
So agri in terms of volumes for the 9 months was 1 lakh tons. Non-agri was 55,000 tons.
Versus last year?
Versus last year was 1,10,000 and 42,000.
Got it. And in terms of profitability, sir, when you say 10 to 12% is a long-term maintainable number, but if I just want to understand in terms of non-agri profitability versus agri, how that would translate into this?
That will be difficult to share. Because see, one thing we must also understand, while we also say agri, non-agri, there are various parts of for example, some of our own markets, in some of the north especially, a lot of our agri products are used for non-agri applications. Correct. So then this bifurcation or differentiation between agri and non-agri becomes very difficult. So while you ask and we provide these numbers, not necessarily they are absolutely purely used for agri and non-agri.
Right. And sir, in this quarter we have seen impact on our PVC resin external demand. So that is to do with this volatility, right? I mean, there were people would have postponed purchases, and that would have led to this decline in volumes, absolute volumes, right?
Yes.
And do you expect that to recover in coming months once things get clear post budget?
See, once prices stabilize, then things will become better or more clearer. See, when prices are falling, and especially how they have done in the last couple of months, then it's like catching the falling knife. Everybody wants to catch the knife once the edge has passed. So that always plays in the minds of people, of the consumers, or the dealers. So once there is stability, we will see. We hope that the demand will be back.
Got it. All the best, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Shah from Investec. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, couple of questions. One is inventory at the company level is definitely high. Would it be possible for you to split it up between pipes and fittings and resin? That is one. Secondly, what is a normal inventory in the channel? How many days versus how much would it be right now? Just trying to understand, there has been a big element of channel destock. If normalization happens, then what sort of volume growth actually automatically it will reflect on the basis of channel restock?
Ritesh, the inventory breakup, I don't think we have it readily available.
Okay. No worries, sir. And sir, how should one read the channel destocking? What sort of inventory does the channel carry? How much would it be right now?
Channel today, because of this volatility in prices, is carrying very low inventory levels. So they generally, dealers pick the material only when they see the visibility of orders. Channel inventories at present are very low.
Okay. But sir, if we look at the numbers on the non-agri side, if I heard it right, you indicated 30% year-on-year volume growth. Was that number right?
So 30% was compared to FY20 9 months.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Sir, my second question was, must have indicated that there were supply constraints on additives and other goods. So just wanted to check any specific additives which is a problem which is probably can help organized sector given that sourcing will be better. That's one. Secondly, was CPVC sourcing a problem in the quarter? And how is it? How should one look at it incrementally?
I think there are certain additives which are required for processing of the PVC for pipes. These additives somehow are not available. Some of the companies in Europe or in US have closed down. There are certain container problems, so the availability has been restricted. The only alternative is to look at domestic suppliers and try out the new suppliers. So we are in that process that continuously we are looking at alternate suppliers on various additives. Now, some of the additives which I can talk about is butyl gin stabilizer, or maybe high impact modifier, or maybe some polyethylene waxes, or even the TiO2 coming from Kronos. So these are some of the additives which are in short supply. They are getting delayed, So the delivery times are getting longer and longer because of some of the reasons of the transportation and the logistics. So these definitely put pressure on us. We have been able to manage with alternate sources and maybe domestic suppliers also.
Right. And sir, on CPVC side?
On CPVC, also there are certain constraints on supply. But we have been, again, broad-basing our suppliers. So the basket of suppliers is also increasing, and we are able to maintain our CPVC supply chain. So far, so good. We hope that the logistical problems will ease out and more, free trade will happen, particularly on CPVC resin.
Right. Sir, what I wanted to understand, is it a supply problem or is it a logistic issue on the CPVC side?
There is a supplier constraints, to maybe their capacities also at present are getting limited.
Okay. Sure. And so just one thing you indicated on US-China anti-dumping duties, you indicated on 8 to 10%. Is there any affirmative timeline by when we will actually hear something on this from DGTR? Or can it keep on lingering for a little longer? Like, is there an end date, a 3-year or a 5-year tenure wherein this particular duties expire? Sorry for my ignorance over here, sir.
This duty is expiring next month, but it may be continued also. It is again a question mark.
Okay, sure. And sir, one last question. Sir, competition has been launching multiple brands under CPVC. This possibly could be a function that unit economics might not be stacking up. Is it something which actually benefits for a brand like Finolex, wherein we are actually looking to grow aggressively on the non-agri side of things?
I think Finolex is an umbrella brand. It is not specific to only agri and non-agri. So it is basically a brand for pipes and fittings. And it is definitely a brand which talks of quality rather than on specific product. So it is not a product-specific brand so far. So we like to see that the leverage of our brand value is extended to all products together.
Sure, sir. And sir, one last question. Did we go for discounting in the months of November and December to actually push volumes? Basically, which probably helped on the volumes. Basically, volume growth is negative, but it is not.
No, nothing out of the turn. The normal nothing. Keep on coming up with schemes and all. Nothing out of turn, because in November demand itself was very low. So even if we would have given high discounts, because there is no demand, what's the point?
Okay. And nothing on credit as well? No change?
No, primarily no change.
Okay. That's very useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sneha Talreja from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks a lot for the opportunity, sir. Sir, couple of questions from my end. Firstly, with regards to CPVC, anti-dumping duty, there was a recently, news on PVC flex films imported from China, wherein, they have revoked dumping duty, which was due till 31st of Jan. Is it something related to us, or can we expect similar duty revoke happening in PVC resins also?
I think there are a lot of pressures coming from the processor side also. That there is a general demand coming up from the processors that the total general duty, which is 10% on PVC, should be reduced. On the other hand, the domestic resin producers are also looking at that this should not happen, because already there are some FTAs which are affecting the margins on the domestic producers. So between the two, on one side there are producers of resin, the other side there are consumers of resin. Between them, the duty structure is decided by the government. I think at present we see that it will be continued to the level that it is presently there.
Sure, sir. And if it doesn't, would it mean that there will be a direct, cut in prices by around 10 odd %, given that you said that, prices are hovering at around $1,500 and in China they're hovering around $1,300? Is that understanding correct?
China at present is 1,300, but at the same time they have their logistical issues also.
Okay.
It may not be that there will be a correction even if it happens to about 5% or 7%, not more.
Okay, got it. And sir, second question was basically related to, currently, what are the prices in the grey market of PVC? Because for some time we were, listening about a big grey market discount in the PVC market when Reliance and, Chemplast and, all of these companies in the domestic market had PVC prices in the range of, they were already running at premium. So what's the current status? After this current price cuts, has the prices come in line with what they were running in the grey market, or is it still at some level of discount?
I think the grey market prices are very volatile. Sometimes they are at premium, sometimes they are at discount. I think we can't predict it like this. It all depends upon how much is the import material that is coming to the country. And if it is a delayed, supposing somebody has ordered a material at a higher price and now it has come after 3 months and the prices have corrected already, then they dump it also, because otherwise they carry huge losses. So this type of trading volumes which are there, they decide the grey market. So depending on the actual availability of the free volume available in the market. Otherwise, domestic suppliers have got a steady production level and steady supply level.
Right. Also, one last question, which is again related to some government notifications only, which is BIS norms. Any clarity there? At times we hear about, getting it implemented. At times, it's completely, ignored and, not getting implemented. Any particular status, and what do you feel is the intention of the government here?
The intention was that we must have a standard quality of the material that is being used in the country, whether it is from the domestic supplier or it is from the external suppliers. And there is a lot of grey material that comes up with low quality stuff also in the country, and that affects the pricing level. And that is why BIS standard has been introduced, so that everyone, whoever wants to sell a material in India, must conform to a BIS standard. And this has been now implemented. All the products, not even the PVC, but at the same time the supplies coming to the PVC manufacturer, like EDC, VCM, all are now linked to BIS. So every product has got a BIS standard, and all the suppliers who are supplying it in the country, as well as the domestic producers, must have a BIS license for these products. I think that is good, that we also make something which is standardized. It's just like REACH, European Union has a particular standard for every chemical that they use. The similar thing may be happening that BIS is the only agency in India who can control the quality of materials which are being used in India. And that is why this becomes mandatory for domestic suppliers as well as the external suppliers.
Got that, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of SM Kumar from an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you for providing opportunity me asking questions. So first question regarding how much cash available in our book.
Roughly net cash of roughly 500 crores.
Okay, so do you have any plan for inorganic acquisition in recent months, upcoming years?
So we are not close to any opportunities, but there is nothing specific identified as of now.
Okay, so further regarding questions, digital marketing. So what are the steps you have taken to improve our digital marketing through any social media platform? Because nowadays most of farmers are using the social media. So do you have any strategic plan to improve our digital marketing? Any idea on that?
Yes, we do. In fact, we are pretty, I would say, focused on digital marketing. We reach out to our customers, and you're right, even in rural markets, digital is becoming the norm of the day. So we are actively pursuing digital channels like the typical ones, the social media, social interactions, Facebooks, and all of that. So we have a team which kind of keep working on this.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashwin Agarwal from Akash Ganga Investments. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Okay. So, sir, for my first question would be a bookkeeping question. So, as we have a higher consumption of internal consumption of PVC resins, so how do we benchmark in the terms of revenue and how do we book itself? Like, can you just give some broad idea onto that? Hello.
Sorry, my connection was lost. Can you please repeat that question?
Yeah. So, as we have a higher internal consumption of PVC resins, and so I just wanted to understand how do we benchmark as a price, because the price is so volatile. So, how do we benchmark in terms of revenue as in terms of our Finolex Industries?
So, our internal transfer happens at market rates.
Okay. So, as on date, what we require, we will get at a market rate, right? So, that will be the thing.
Yes.
Okay. And so, my second question would be on this, can you just give a broad idea on EDC, VCM route? Can you just give some, what is the ratio right now, what we are making in PVC resins, so with this ratio?
From EDC route, we make about 60%, and from VCM route, we make 40%.
40%, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vipul Shah from Sumangal Investment. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my question relates to pricing of our CPVC products. So how do our prices compare in relation to the market leader? Are we at what level of discount compared to market leaders?
See, I don't know who you're referring to when you say the market leader, but we generally price basis our input cost and the margin that we want to keep. There are some markets where the prices are, they're not really same everywhere, but depending on territory to territory, some territories we are slightly overpriced, some we are underpriced. I mean, we have more pricing advantage. So it's difficult to say that how much are we pricing, because we don't price keeping any competitor in mind. We do our own maths, our own economics, and that's how we price our goods.
And regarding the sourcing of raw material for CPVC, we had an exclusive agreement with Lubrizol, so we are sourcing 100% from them, or we have multiple channels?
We have multiple channels. We had a procurement contract with Lubrizol, but that we closed down last year, in fact.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Asim Berde from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Most of my questions have been answered. Just one question. Can you talk about the PVC supply situation in China and the US? Just wanted to know that if theoretically the dumping duties are removed, is there any free supply to come to India in the next few months which may force more PVC price cuts here?
At present, I think there is hardly any supply coming from China as well as US. The main suppliers presently are Japan because there is the FTA. The next one is Thailand, Formosa from Taiwan, South Korea. So more or less, except China, all Asia Pacific people and some Southeast Asia people, even from Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines. Little comes from Europe. US is a long distance. Presently, US supplies to India are still limited. Even later on also, logistically, it is far away from this, so we don't see much of problem from US, but China, yes. If China really gets opened up, whether they will enter the Indian market in more aggressive way. That is one possibility. At the same time, China capacity is 50% on carbide route, and so how that unfolds based on the environmental concerns which China has gone through, and whether they will be releasing again the carbide route to the level that they want. So China itself, if they don't go for the carbide route aggressively, they may not have much of service. So these are some of the uncertainties on the trade which is coming from US as well as China.
Okay, so China is an option, but there are uncertainties. One can't say it's a given if dumping duties are removed, Chinese supplies will flood into our market and possibly upset the pricing dynamics here. We can't just count on that just yet.
I think sometime back, China and Australia fell through their coal supplies. And then China had to go for Indonesian coal. The Indonesian coal prices went up. Then China also opened the internal domestic coal supplies. So this was something which went on, but now I think the things are taking the reverse route. So we still do not know how that will unfold on the carbide route from China.
Okay, and just one follow-up on this. So I think last year there was talk about, the demand for PVC within China had also increased. Same for the US as well, and that's why they were not exporting from their own markets. Has that, the internal demand for PVC, has that come down, or have there been, like capacities were shut down on the carbide side, those are possibly opening up and hence they have surplus to export?
I think China is such a closed information market. Recently there were some lockdowns which are also, Xi'an and all those major areas, they were locked down. One or two ports also were closed down in China, so the trade also got affected from China. So there are certain things which are still unknowns on China. But at present, their domestic productions are meeting their own requirements. There is hardly any surplus trade that has happened from China on this. But they are definitely, on GPVC they are there. Some amount of SPVC could be there, but it is still not on a very large scale yet.
Got it.
More
okay.
are from the FTAs and those countries, Asian countries and Japan. These are the countries where there is a surplus PVC which comes to India.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bharat Bhagat, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity. So my question is that why raw material cost increased almost 50% as compared to previous quarter? As an investor, I want to know.
I think one thing you should understand, when the PVC goes up, all the raw material prices have also moved up. So EDC as well as VCM, both the prices have moved up. So raw material prices will definitely follow the PVC route.
Okay, but it is almost 50% compared to previous quarter, sir.
Yeah, there was a lag somewhere or the other. The PVC prices reached $1,900, so that is why there was a huge differential between PVC to EDC as well as from PVC to VCM. So definitely the EDC suppliers as well as VCM suppliers, they are increasing the prices.
Okay, and sir, second question is, what's the company roadmap for coming 2 years?
I didn't get your question.
So what's company's roadmap for coming 2 years, sir?
Roadmap is in the sense that we continue to operate in the similar manner. We see that the demand goes up, and we hope that we will have at least double-digit growth coming for the next year.
Okay, thank you, sir. Best of luck, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Agarwal from InCred Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the follow-up. Sanjay ji, there's one macro backdrop, right, that the non-agri demand should see sustained and strong situation going into next 2-3 years, purely because there is decent amount of recovery on real estate side. The construction looks okay, both urban, semi-urban. Of course, home improvement and stuff like that is also driving some kind of renovation demand. On agri side, last 2 seasons have been hit by COVID. This year also we are a bit delayed. So my sense is, farmers must be waiting to put pipes and improve their field and wait for the rains to stop. So overall, both end customers, end consumers for us, on a steady state basis, look like that the demand for pipes should be pretty strong, and we should report like very high volume growth going forward when things stabilize. And we should, basically try and hit our 3 lakh ton kind of volume for pipes and fittings. Any thoughts, sir, on this fiscal 23-24? How do you agree with this, or do you think there is some gap in my understanding?
Rahul, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, Mr. Matt, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think your analysis is definitely a music to our ears. Definitely, we also look at and hope that the demand really comes back to agri. Agri has been doing, actually speaking, if you see agri growth in GDP terms is more than 3 to 4% now. The last 2 years, the rain has been good, and both the harvest, Kharif as well as Rabi crop, has been good. So the money with the farmers is there. It is only the pricing that has definitely has possibly made as a deterrent for going ahead with the investments on the pipe irrigational investment. I think what you are saying is right. That next 2 years it should see that whatever shortfall on the demand that we have seen, the farmers will come back and they will go ahead with their investment in irrigation. On the other hand, on the real estate also, the inventory is getting over. So there is particularly the low income housing is definitely has now taken a root, and it will definitely go ahead, and more instead of luxury housing, the middle income group and the low income group, that will grow. That will drive the demand on the retail basis. I think, yes, you are right. We also see that this may happen. I think we don't like to predict something. We always see that we try to meet the demand with all our supply side constraints controlled.
Got it, sir. So essentially, does that mean that, whenever things normalize and we cross that 3 lakh ton kind of number for pipes and fittings, till that point, we don't need any capex for resins? I mean, that is good enough to, meet the PVC pipe demand. Is that correct? So there is no capex for next 3 years in PVC resins?
No capex for PVC resins. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And last question, just to end the call. Any expectations from the union budget on 1st Feb? Anything positive, negative to your sector or company specifically? Any requests to the government, as in, as an industry you would have made? Your comments, please. Thank you.
I think support to agri sector and support to the construction sector, that in any form which the government does will be beneficial for us also.
Okay. Thank you so much and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sonali from Jefferies. Please go ahead.
So thank you. Just one follow-up, rather one clarification. This agri volume minus 5% year-on-year and non-agri of plus 30% year-on-year, is it on the basis of FY21 or FY20?
FY21.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chirag Hridaya from ValueQuest. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I just wanted to know this out of 120,000 tons per month import, how much it would be from China and how much it would be from US currently?
I think this data is available. Maybe you can refer to that. I don't have the number now.
Any rough sense, sir? How big would be China today?
China less than 10,000 tons.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Tarang from Old Bridge Capital. Please go ahead.
So 2 questions. One, at some point in your earlier answer, you spoke about pricing being different from one region to the other, which is basically a function of your cost and whatever margins. So just wanted to understand what would be the differences in costs on a regional level, which would drive differential pricing. So that's number one.
Yeah, please continue.
Hello?
Yeah, please complete your query.
Right. The second question is, my sense would be that most of the working capital that's employed in the business would be attributable to the pipes and fittings business. Would that be accurate?
Large part of it, yes, but also in the resin segment also, there is inventory which is carried. So it's not that completely it is for pipes and fittings.
And typically, how many days of inventory is carried in resins?
30 days roughly.
30 days. Okay. Yeah, my first question, please.
For imported material, imported inputs, it's 2 months.
Okay.
See, roughly the difference in pricing comes from, we sell X factory. Okay. So that way, our pricing for everybody is more or less the same. But how the prices to the end customer, they vary is, one of the major items which come into play is the freight. Because transportation plays a major role when the dealer or the retailer, at what price it reaches them.
Okay. So freight is the primary factor differentiator. That's it, right?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Ritesh Shah for closing comments.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the management for providing us the opportunity to host them and for very detailed commentary and insights. Thank you so much. I'll hand over the call to Matsa for final closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ritesh, and thank you all of you to have a continued interest in Finolex Industries We will be happy to share any more information whenever you want. I think we look for your continued support in the future also. Thank you again. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Investec Capital Services, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.